All right, all right. Well, please welcome our main guest tonight, esteemed economist, nettoyant de tableau blanc.
Thank you, Dominic. I'm very glad to be here.
Well, we're glad to have you. What are you here to tell us about tonight?
Well, you know, in my line of work, we deal with a lot of numbers.
Yeah, I can imagine. Is having a stone cold heart in the job description?
No, that's just a side effect. But in actuality, we economists analyze trends in what's going on around us so that we can provide commentary and create models for predicting the future.
So you guys are clairvoyants.
Well, not quite, but with the help of supercomputers, we're getting there.
Yeah, well, I use the meme examining subreddit, so I think I already have a pretty good understanding of economics.
Maybe. Anyway, one of the first things we look at is what we call the strategic context.
Oh, is that the plan for bombing Russia?
No, I think that's the strategic plan. Anyway, the strategic context is the ways in which companies and lawmakers can attack economic issues specifically. Now, did you know that America is lacking when it comes to regulation of business? Not only that, but it also has a hard time planning ahead due to its size.
Yeah, it's like trying to plan your bachelor party with 300 million people or inviting 300 million people to your PUBG lobby.
I can't imagine the servers would be able to handle that. A good competitive economy allows low-income people to live well, and it doesn't help that the U.S. has a very unusual foreign tax system.
Well, you know, we gotta crack down on China.
Well, maybe. China does have an unfair trade policy, but a solution wouldn't be starting a global trade war. No one would ever be stupid enough to do that.
Right.
Another factor is manufacturing, or industrial production. Manufacturers contributed $2.25 trillion to the U.S. economy in 2016. But to generate this sum of money over the next 10 years, 3.5 million manufacturing workers will be needed in the U.S. alone.
Wow, that's a lot of zeros.
The U.S. actually ranks fourth in productivity growth. Manufacturing generates $1.40 for every dollar put in, far greater than the multiplier generated by business services, information, retail trade, or finance.
Oh man, that's some return on investment. The specter of manufacturing is strong.
It certainly is. Now, we touched on it a little bit, but compensation practices and incentives are one of the main driving forces behind the economy. Essentially, they're the process of how salaries are set and by whom. Pretty important, right? People need to get paid.
Oh, I know that's definitely true for me.
Now, a rather interesting fact can be that compensation and incentive are not solely based on performance. The rapid growth of the alternate asset industry was in response to low interest rates during the dot-com boom in the early 2000s.
Whoa, 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 whoa. I know what all those individual words mean, but not when you put them together like that.
Well, that's why I have a degree in economics and you don't. Most of economics seem like gibberish to outsiders. My homies in the audience will understand.
Yeah! Oh no, I'm thinking that's just because it is gibberish.
Well, anyway, the sad part about the American economy is that the home income will rarely, if ever, reach the capital income. This is to protect the companies itself, of course.
Oh, yeah, of course. I knew that.
This is in part caused by the fact that the higher-ups are often far too eager to outsource labor in search of lower working rates.
So you do have some sliver of a heart in there.
No, I really don't care about the workers.
He admits it.
Well, let's talk about the workers.
Well, I mean, if you insist, they're only the backbone of the economy.
The workforce is doing great. There's actually high employment in America right now. America has a very financially driven economy. As a longtime economist, I think it's pretty clear that at this point that wages and productivity should go together.
Well, that's really interesting, actually.
But all of this depends on the business ecosystem. Any entrepreneur would know that it is important to turn ideas into enterprises. Executives know that we need to encourage cross-sector collaboration. The three main archetypes for businesses are thinkers, makers, and traders.
Wow. I like to think of myself as all three.
Well, there aren't very many people like that. Well, lastly, I want to discuss the other commons.
Oh, yeah. It's like plebs who suck at Fortnite.
No, those are the other commoners. The tragedy of the commons is a term used in social science to describe a situation in a shared resource system where individual users acting independently according to their own self-interest behave contrary to the common good of all users by depleting or spoiling that resource through their collective action.
Oh, so it is about Fortnite.
No, it's about the economy.
Well, I think that's just about it. Mr. Blanc, everybody. Next up, we'll have Ryan O'Toole on how to be an unhappy person. We'll be back right after the break.